What the Helm are you looking at? Hey, so you've probably heard about the Helm Package Manager, and in this video, I want to take you through exactly how I use it to install different applications into my Kubernetes cluster, specifically things that have already been done before. Hey, what's up? I'm Will from DevOps for Developers, and on this channel, I talk about all things DevOps, from landing your first DevOps job to integrating DevOps throughout your organization. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the Helm Package Manager. So Helm is a way to package applications for your Kubernetes cluster, sort of like a package manager like a Yum package, or Chocolatey if you come from the Windows world, or Homebrew if you use OS X. And so the way that I typically use this is that there are certain things that all of us have on our Kubernetes clusters. You know, things like Postgres or RabbitMQ or MySQL, Elasticsearch, you know, just all of these different services that aren't unique to anyone aside from the exact data that we put into it. And that's where I think Helm really helps and excels in managing your Kubernetes cluster. Because let's face it, I'm probably like the 98 millionth person to ever install Postgres onto a Kubernetes cluster. So why should I have to reinvent the work that's probably already been done? That's where Helm charts come provide value for me. So I found them a little confusing when I first started working with them because they are very, very configurable. You know, think about it. There's tons of options in an application like Postgres. And so how do you get to the ones that you need and ignore the ones that you don't? Well, I found that the quality of the chart that you use makes a big difference. And the chart is actually like the installation script or the package itself for a Helm application. Let me show you an example here by taking a look at the RabbitMQ chart created by Bitnami. And just for the record here, Bitnami has some phenomenal Helm charts. They've done so much work in creating Helm charts for just about every application I've tried to install using Helm. And in every single one of them, like, the quality of the chart is just through the roof. So if you're given a choice with downloading and installing a chart from someone else, or you see one from Bitnami, I got to recommend the Bitnami one because I just think you're going to have great success with it. So of course, we've got the README here that tells you a little bit about how to install it. The key thing though is this values.yaml file. So this is where you can override all of the settings in the application itself. So if we just scroll through here real quick, you know, there's some stuff like the image, where you get your image from, some Kubernetes stuff. And then we get down into like the RabbitMQ specific settings, like the ulimit for the file descriptors, the memory high watermarks, the different plugins that you want installed. And so this is just an example file that comes with the repo to tell you all the different configuration options that you have with it. Now, I don't need to configure all of those, and that's where I really like this, because I can just pick and choose which settings make sense for me, and I can create my own values.yaml file, update the settings that I want to override here, and then install that Helm chart with this file, and it gets configured the way that I want it configured. Now, one other thing that I do to make it clear that I've used a Helm chart, because you can install with Helm, you can install using your own package manager, or you can write your own custom services for different applications. And someone who comes along to your Kubernetes cluster after you may not know how you did it. So in all of my repos, I create a Makefile. And in this Makefile, I'll include the steps for installing and removing the different things that I've built onto the cluster. For example, here's RabbitMQ up. If you want to bring that RabbitMQ cluster up, I did it with the Helm install command using this values.yaml file. And if you want to delete it, well, here's the delete command to delete that RabbitMQ cluster. Now, one more thing I want to point out about this values.yaml file is you can just include these as command line arguments or command line flags to the Helm command and override all of these parameters, but I don't recommend doing that. The reason is because once that command is erased from your command history, who knows what options it was configured with. So whenever you're working with me, we're going to put all of our override settings into our own values.yaml file. That's going to live in a GitHub repo. That way we always know the exact options that the application was configured with. And if we need to update or change those, we can do so by modifying this file and putting it through a Git workflow process where it's subjected to pull requests, peer review, and then merging into our master branch. So there's never any confusion about the settings that are running on your current server. One last thing I'm going to talk about here is the artifact hub for Helm packages. And if you just look through this list here, there's just tons of them available for about every application you could ever want, including things like Jenkins. You know, if you ever wanted to install and run Jenkins, you could do it the old-fashioned manual way, or here's a Helm chart that's going to help you get started. Now, of course, you can create your own Helm packages as well. If you have an application that you're building, maintaining, and deploying, you can create and package that via Helm. I haven't done that a whole lot. You know, I think the difference between just creating a service in Kubernetes using YAML files and using Helm is really, to me, like the difference in how many people are going to use this. If you're talking about something like RabbitMQ or Postgres, it makes a lot of sense because there's tons of configuration options and you can just kind of put those off into safe defaults and provide overrides for people to set the ones that they want. But with something that's, you know, an application that's built by me or built by my team, usually it's pretty specific. We don't really use that anywhere except on our application server. So you don't have this vast array of configuration options and settings that are infinitely configurable. And I think Helm tends to be a little bit overkill in that. So I default to just creating YAML files in Kubernetes and deploying my applications as services that way. So there you go. If you ever wanted to know what the Helm was all about, now you know. And that's about all I got for you in this video. So we'll just give a big old Helm yeah, brother. And then I'll see y'all in the next video.